This is the new LEGO Star Wars Tenoo Jedi Temple set. And today, using 2 Jedi Temple sets plus 1 ATST for some extra parts, we're going to try and create the Tenoo Padawan Training Outpost. Just recently, I built and acquired the Tenoo Jedi Temple for the first time, and honestly, this is an amazing set just at a horrific price point. We have a solid little Jedi Temple build with a tiny bit of interior space, with a small training area and an extra speeder bike, but most importantly in my opinion are these 3 Jedi minifigures. Now I don't really know much about the characters, but I can say the printing on their robes are absolutely fantastic. And I think anybody making a mock with quite a few Jedi are going to want a few of this set to get these exclusive robe prints. And then on the other hand, much less excited is the ATST. This set, in my opinion, is still awful. For just $5 less than the Jedi Temple, you get a very uninteresting tree and limited posability ATST, with the best part of this set being the Ewok and Scout Trooper minifigures. And if you're going to get robbed buying a 4+ set, I'd prefer to get a decent Jedi Temple set with some amazing minifigure parts as well. But despite this set being awful, I was a sucker and I purchased another one for this video for the extra pieces. What I really want to do is rework these minifigure parts with my extra Jedi minifigures in that second copy back there, and then maybe we can have some cool custom Jedi. Now, is this an ambitious idea? Kind of, I guess. But more importantly, is it a good idea? No, probably not. It cost me way too much to make this video. But I think it'll be fun, and I think my idea is very possible. So I'm going to crack open my second copy of the Jedi Temple, and we'll get to building. And I did quite a bit of building, and I unfortunately forgot to film some background footage of me making the final product, so instead we're just going to quickly cover the leftover pieces. And as you can see, there's 3 of the largest pieces from the 4+ ATST, so it's looking like you wouldn't actually need this set to make this alternate build, but you will have to gather some of the parts from your collection. And I did successfully rework all the minifigure parts, so we don't have any repeat Jedi. The only downside to this is, now we have a very short ATST driver. It's not the worst in the world, but it is a little funny when your ATST driver is as tall as some Jedi younglings. But now that we've covered these leftover pieces, let's head back to the desk and check out the full alternate build. And with our 2 Jedi Temples and 1 ATST, we've successfully made the Tenoo Padawan Training Outpost. Complete with a full interior cabin, Jedi speeders, Padawan Training Grounds, and a full Jedi lineup. And to combat our heroes, we have 2 small Imperial speeders ready to move in and engage in combat. And the Jedi Temple itself is a bit of a 2-story design. I was originally going for something wider and much longer, but I think this turned out much better, and it's much more space efficient for sure. And taking a look at the outside of the temple, you can see it's a very green and nature-heavy structure, but it's not quite overgrown. The Jedi like to keep it a little well kept with some potted plants near the main entrance, and then some vines just growing up and down the temple. I especially like these printed tan window pieces that go into these larger structures. They have a little bit of moss printing on that brick to add in a tiny bit of detail where you otherwise wouldn't have had it. And going up and down the temple, because of that 2-story design, I managed to work in 2 small little balconies or outposts, so the Jedi can survey the area and make sure everything's going okay. But hopefully somebody remembered to bring a step stool, because Yoda's going to have a hard time seeing anything. But on top of all the plants and greenery that's growing outside, I think the most important thing to mention are these Jedi insignia pieces. Now, it's unfortunate that they come in a 4+ set, but I think this piece is going to be very popular going forward in a lot of LEGO Star Wars mocks. And luckily I got 2 of them with this alternate build, so I'll be able to repurpose these plenty. But heading back to the ground floor, we're going to dive through our main entrance, which sounds much cooler than me just spinning it around, and now we can take a look at the entire interior space. And the bottom floor of the Jedi Temple houses our in-temple droid to assist with any studies or duties that need doing. And then over here we have some larger kyber crystals on a shelf where we have a new Jedi Master teaching our younglings about them. And we do actually have a new Jedi Master alongside Master Yoda, as well as all of our new custom younglings. So let's quickly meet all the Force users before we continue. So we've of course got Green Dude and Purple Lady. From the original set though, we have Master Yoda, Liz Soleil, and then Kai Brightstar further on the right there. And then using all of our extra minifigures, we managed to create Jedi 4, Jedi 5, Ewok Jedi, and the ever so intelligent Jedi Master 2. Comment your favorite of the custom Jedi names down below. I'm definitely more of an Ewok Jedi guy myself. Back inside, where we have the best Padawan being taught about kyber crystals, we can fold this ladder up and take a look at all the lightsaber storage that this floor has. As you can see, I have 6 lightsabers clipped in right now, but you can fit all 7 from the set if you offset some on the sides, and then you have just 1 sticking up to that next floor. I'm not a huge fan of how this looks though, so I like to peel off that top lightsaber and then stick it on the back of one of these speeders. And then the last thing to go over on the bottom floor is just this small storage crate of supplies that I managed to tuck in the corner over here. Other than that storage crate though, we can go ahead and move out of that corner and head up our ladder up into the living quarters of the Jedi Temple. On the left side of the top floor here, we have 2 bunks offset on some jumper plates so we can tuck them inside that little structure piece at the front there. And then off to the right, we have the kitchen and dinner table area. We'll go ahead and get our minifigures out of there so we can get a better look. We've got the stove up against the front wall there with a grill on its right side and a little bit of supplies strewn about the counter. And then over here we have the dinner table. And because this is essentially a house full of children, there is going to be milk and cookies everywhere. And other than that, we just have those 2 balconies that we mentioned earlier. And then we can head outside and then check out our Padawan training grounds. And the Padawan training grounds were just kind of made up of leftover pieces, but I tried to make it as interesting as possible. I kept that droid from the original set. I just took off that bottom circular tile and gave it to the droid inside so he doesn't fall over as easily. And this droid still rotates just fine without that tile piece on there. For actual Jedi training over here, we have a small area where the Padawans can practice their focus, lifting these heavy stones, and then maybe even putting another Padawan on top. Like I said, it's a very basic area, but I wanted to have some sort of exterior training area. And now that we've covered all the structures for this alternate build, let's finally move into the speeders. And the Jedi have access to 2 speeders. One of them is very similar to the original set, just with some added weapons on the side so you can defend the temple when the Imperials attack. And then this other one is a much more low profile, more civilian design. And as we mentioned earlier, both speeders do still have the ability to store 1 lightsaber on the back. And on the other hand over here, the Imperials also have a tiny bit of gear as well. The Scout speeder is pretty much unchanged from the original set. It just has a jumper plate on the back so you can hold on to that blaster pistol. But the ATST has massively changed. Now I know I called all of these speeders, but if you take a close look at this build, you can see I used those larger leg pieces as some armor plating on the sides, and they actually still do pose. So in the event that this speeder can't fly through the air anymore, but it needs to walk, you can now fold down both of these side legs, and then fold down your front cannons, and then you have this weird speeder walker combo. And I gotta admit, I know it looks a little funky, but for some reason, I really like this design of a walker. You just have to be careful though, when you're folding up and down these legs, you have to hold on to this Technic piece down here, otherwise the entire thing will just break. So if you do decide to build this, just be careful and make sure you put your thumb on that bottom piece when you're folding up both legs. And with these little speeder bikes, that pretty much covers the entire alternate build. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and this alternate build. It was certainly an expensive and ridiculous one to make, with the sets alone costing $115 plus tax. Now obviously I knew that going in, but I don't really expect too many people to be making one of these for themselves. But if you wouldn't mind dropping a like on this video to make me feel a little bit better about what I did to my wallet, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you somehow end up wanting to build one of these alternate builds, I do have PDF building instructions available on my Patreon page right now. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace, fellas.